you are a kind of a teacher to Oscar Piastri.
No, he didn't say that. He said, we don't have them yet.
I think a very feasible one, like an easy change, is slick tyres.
Sean de nueva cuenta, bienvenidos a Fórmula E, el podcast. Y en esta ocasión tenemos a uno de los pilotos más vibrantes, one of the coolest guys in the world in Fórmula E. His name is Dan Ticktum. Dan, nice to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome, Dan,
Thank
to
you.
Mexico City.
Thank you.
Your nightmare on the track, but one of your favorite places to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Dan, let's start with the next season. The last one was the best for you in history in Fórmula E. What do you expect for the 25-26 season?
Yes, so I'm going into my 5th season in Formula E. I can't believe how quickly the time has gone, to be honest. Must have meant that I've enjoyed some of it. The first 3 years were very tough in the least funded team. The end of season 3, we picked up some good investment and we were able to do a deal with Porsche and Cupra. So for my 4th season, the season we've just finished, a lot more competitive, a lot more exciting. Got our first win, first podium, first win, first pole position. So yeah, it was a much more positive year. I was very proud to be able to deliver those results for the team because it's not just been tough for me, it's been tough for them as well. So the deal that happened going into last year happened very late. So we didn't really hit the ground running at the beginning of the year. Like the first 4 or 5 rounds, almost first half of the year were quite tough, to be honest. We weren't quite maximising the potential of the car. But as the season progressed, and hats off to the team, we learnt the car as quickly as we could. And myself as well, in the first few races, I wasn't getting the most out of the car, and towards the halfway point everything started to fall into place a lot more, and we started to get some good results. So going into next year, I feel like we're in a much better place than where we were starting last year. So I'm hoping for some more positive results, so we'll see.
Then on track you were aggressive and full of grit, but back off the track people say that you've got quiet, sarcastic sense of humor. Do you feel that's part of your identity, or is there a Ticktum on the track and another Ticktum off the track?
Yes and no, I would say. I think I'm a lot calmer off the track than people would expect. The media tends to represent me in a certain way. I did something quite bad a few years ago, about 10 years ago, and I sort of created a bad reputation for myself, which is a bit tough. And I feel like, that whole narrative is pushed a lot, that I'm angry and out of control and all that, which is not the case. I mean, if you look at the last 5, 6, 7 years of the teams I've worked with some, some of the top F2 teams, was a Red Bull driver, and obviously kept my job in Formula E for 5 years, which is not easy. It's a very cutthroat championship. I think I'm doing some things right, obviously. And I think off the track, I'm British, so, sarcasm is fluent in our country. So, some are more than others, but I think it's very easy to, when you're an athlete or in a sport like racing, to take everything too seriously. And I think a lot of people, their career just goes by without even realising it. It all happens very fast, and I think it's important to enjoy it and be yourself, to be honest. I don't want to spend the next 10 or so years of my life, 10, 15 years acting. I think I want to be authentic, and it's quite difficult in today's society, but in Formula E, my team and the CEO, Jeff, and Alberto, they're very supportive of me, which is great. I really enjoy being in the championship, so yeah.
Dan, we know that well, the first 3 years, you see most of the drivers in front of you. That's not really something nice for a driver, right? But the last, let's talk about 6 months.
Yep.
How do you describe this? How your world changed?
Yeah, so those 3 years, I mean, that was when I started to become a professional. I got paid for my job. So immediately the way you race has to change a little bit, and the way you act has to change a little bit. A lot of people probably weren't expecting me to adapt to that too well. And I had some challenging moments in those years, with the team, and I wasn't, let's say, the easiest driver to manage, but I was frustrated, and I think I was still in the mindset of the Formula One ladder, where there's a lot of pressure, and it took me a year or two to adjust to a sort of more professional environment where you have to be a more rounded character to represent the team. But then focusing more on the last 6 months, I think it's safe to say I didn't enjoy the first few years in Formula E, mainly because of the results and the car I was in. It was a very tough time for me, especially coming off the back of being very close to Formula One, and it was mentally a tough time. And at the beginning of my fourth season, at the beginning of last year, I got to the point where I was a bit fed up of trying to act, and trying to be, too rounded or not myself, and I wasn't enjoying it enough to sacrifice that for myself at a point. So I said to myself at the beginning of the year, I'm just going to be me now, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Luckily, it was the foremost. I feel like it's worked well. I think I've had a lot more positive exposure this year, and that also comes down to the fact that the car's been a lot better. I've been getting exposure where it's not just me shouting on the radio when I'm at the back, So it's been a lot more positive. So yeah, I would say that's it. Yeah.
Then, if you had the power to change just one rule in Formula E, something that would make it more fun for you as a driver, what would you change and why?
One thing to change in Formula E.
Yeah.
Could be anything. I think a very feasible one, like an easy change, is slick tires. So I think if we had slick tires, I think that would make a big difference. Yeah, I'd like to see that, and more power, obviously. More power, but that's coming in Gen 4. We're getting much better tires in Gen 4, and a lot more power. Over 800 horsepower, so it's going to be fast.
Just that Alberto Longo is a genius, right? He just told us slick tires are coming, and that's what you desired.
No, he didn't say that. he said we don't have them yet.
Yes.
so they are coming.
That's how the gossip spells.
But do you think with the slick tires, the Formula E will be more competitive, or will be in a different way?
I think one of the main aspects of Formula E is obviously how close the racing is. So in Gen 4, we're going to have a lot more downforce. I'm skeptical whether this is good or not, because if you have less downforce, you can race closer.
Yeah.
Because you see Formula 1, Formula 2, they always talk about the dirty air. When you get too close, you lose a load of grip. If you have a lot of mechanical grip from the tires or, the chassis, and still have, lowish downforce, then the racing can be closer. It will just be faster, because we'll have more grip. But yeah, I think it's key that I don't know exactly what Gen 4 is going to be like. I've heard good things. I've heard very good things. So yeah, we'll see.
Your driving style, Dan, always gives a show. But if you could choose, would you prefer an epic overtake that everyone remembers, even if you don't end up on the podium, or a not so exciting win?
I see what you mean. I think a race starting at the back and coming all the way to the front, you know, even if it's fifth or whatever, not on the podium, I think these races are the ones that people remember. So yeah, I prefer something more spectacular.
Great.
Well, on track, who has been your worst nightmare?
In Formula E or ever?
Ever, and in Formula E.
Ever.
Both.
This is a very easy one to answer. It was in karting. It's probably the only rival I've ever had, really, in racing. I've never really had strong rivals because I just think that kind of mindset is a bit pathetic, to be honest. So, you know, everyone, when we go racing, we're all trying to achieve the same thing, you know. So I think that you're always going to have disagreements with people. There's always going to be people who are, you know, end up closer to you on track than others. But 2011, I had a season in Coma Cadets, which is a national championship in the UK. And my main rival was a guy called Jamie Caroline. And yeah, we hated each other. Like, you know, even our parents were like wanting to fight all the time. And but he was an immensely talented driver. He's like me, but even more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like,
it's not an easy thing.
No, he is a big character and speaks his mind all the time, no matter what. And we hated each other for age 10, 11. Yeah. And then we crossed paths again when we were 15, 16. And it was a bit weird, but then we sort of realized we were, I can't say the next word, but
you can
both as bigger arseholes as each other.
Did.
So like, yeah, and then we got on very well, and now he's one of my closest friends. So yeah, it was quite a good story, that one. But yeah, we hated each other when we were younger. Yeah.
And in Formula E?
In Formula E, I don't have a rival, really, to be honest. No. Never had someone that stood out. I think the new documentary in Amazon, that, you know, we've had one season, another season coming out. I think in one of the episodes, they tried to talk about me and Taylor Barnard having a bit of a rivalry. For me, I have nothing against the driver or the guy, so I wouldn't call it a rivalry.
Okay, so if you don't have one, I will pick one for you.
Okay, go ahead.
No, just kidding.
Dan, you are known like a very straightforward and unfiltered man. That's giving you a lot of fans, undoubtedly, and also some controversies. But do you see it as an advantage in such a measured world like the motorsports?
I think I was born in the wrong time, to be honest. I think if I was born when my father was born and I was racing in the 70s and the 80s, I wouldn't have had, you know, the problems that I face. I think society in general in the last 10 years, you know, the brands you're representing are so big, you can't really be a polarizing character, you know. These brands, they want you to appeal to everyone. They want you to appeal to everyone, but if you try to appeal to everyone, you appeal to no one. So I think it's a bit of a sad way to live. You know, and I think now it's getting to the time where people want to see, you know, authenticity, you know, much more. People have always wanted to see that, but the media have been quite good at hiding it. And I think now, you know, a character like myself, has its problems. You know, I cause some controversy, but you know, I'm happy in myself being me. You know, I don't want to be an actor. You know, so yeah. Sorry if you don't like some of the things I say. I won't say everything that you like, but you know, yeah, I'm just a guy. You know, I'm a normal guy. So you know, I have my opinions. You may like them, you may not, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, about that, we know that if you wasn't a professional driver, you should pick to be a musician, right?
Yeah, that would be one of my top backups, yes.
Why?
So I started playing the piano when I was a young boy, about 6 or 7 years old. And in my early teenage years, I used to make quite a lot of music. You know, especially like when I was at school, I wasn't allowed to play rugby because, you know, I couldn't risk an injury because the racing was already quite serious at this point. So in all of the times where my friends were playing rugby or you know, whatever else, and I'd also not do certain subjects. I'd only focus on, you know, the more important subjects. I'd go and make music in this time that I had off. So yeah, I really enjoy music. I think the lifestyle or some of it would suit me. And yeah, I just think, look, I think I'm a creative person, you know, like I think I'd like to think I'm like a performer, you know. So yeah, music but also there's just TV and media in general, and sort of, you know, building brands I find interesting, not just in sport, but, you know, in fashion and lots of other things. You know, at the moment I'm working on trying to make my own TV show, a car show.
A car show?
Yeah, so I had two dreams as a boy. One was to be a racing driver and two was to be a presenter of Top Gear.
Okay.
So I've had this idea, you know, for the last 5 years, and I feel like now the time is right. So I'm going to South Africa next month to film a pilot, to try and start a TV show.
Okay, if you need someone to help you, I'm on it. I'm on it. Well,
Of course.
we were talking. Do you know who's him?
Who's him?
You just went to his concert
No,
recently.
I was Liam, or was it supposed to be Noel?
Noel.
It's Noel, is it? Yeah.
I
I mean, there's not much resemblance, but yeah, I went to their concert the other day. Where do you want this?
yeah, I'll put it on the.
There you go. Lovely, perfect. Yeah, I went to their concert on Saturday, and it was very special.
Which song do you think do you sing with more heart, with feeling?
To be honest, I've always liked Wonderwall.
Wonderwall.
Cigarettes and Alcohol, I think that's what it's called. Yeah.
Can you sing us
No.
a little bit? Come on, if you want to be an anchor, you have to.
No, not now. We'll leave that another time. But I like, Wonderwall, and I'm a big fan of older music. You know, I've spent many evenings with my parents when I was younger, listening to all the music they used to listen to, and to be honest, it's much better than modern music.
Okay, yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, I think good music pretty much stopped at about 2005. There's some good stuff after it, but for me, a lot of the best stuff is older stuff.
Tenemos secciones.
Sí, vamos a pasar a nuestra sección del Attack Mode. Attack Mode is our quick questions that you have to
Oh
answer.
God, okay, yep.
Okay, let's start with a very easy one. Tacos or burgers?
Oh no.
It was the easy one.
Yeah, I like both. That's a tough one, but probably burgers. But we don't get good tacos in
Yeah.
the UK. That's the problem.
Well, burgers in the UK or tacos in Mexico?
Or tacos here, 100%.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Pre-race music, rock or electronic?
Again, it depends. I like Metallica. I listen to quite a lot of Metallica, and but probably generally electronic.
Okay, so if you weren't the driver, you would be a... You just said.
Yeah, musician.
Yeah.
Or something in media, or TV. Yeah.
Favorite Formula E track?
Probably Monaco.
Celebrating a podium, big party or quiet night?
Depends who I'm with. I'm not a big party guy, despite what people may think. Like, when the time's right, I like it, but...
It could be a nice dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Like a dinner, or going to a pub with 10 friends, being able to talk. You know, like if you go into a party, you don't know who's playing the music, and you're just in a room and you're forced to shout at everyone because you can't hear anything. So I think, quiet nights can be better.
Animal you identify with the most?
Which animal? God, that's a hard question. I can't give you an answer on that. I need a list of animals.
Well, we can contribute. An eagle, a ram.
That's one of my favorite animals. I like big birds, big eagles and
águilas grandes.
hawks and stuff. But what would I be? I'm trying to think. You know, aggression. I don't know.
Aggression.
I don't know. Like, I can't answer that. It's too difficult. Sorry. I don't know. You know, dogs maybe. It's a boring one. But
Okay. But they are
loyal, very
yeah.
loyal. Yeah.
Do you prefer an epic overtake or a perfect fastest lap?
Oof. Fastest lap. When you put a lap together and you cross the line, even if it's not pole,
It feels
like
good.
it just feels great. Yeah, because it's so hard to do that in Formula E or any top level racing. To go and put a lap together is not easy. So yeah.
If you could race in any city in the world that is not right now in the calendar of the Formula E, which one would it be?
Which series could I race
Which
in?
city? Yeah.
I always said when I was younger, I wanted to be in Formula 1 and BTCC, British Touring Car. Because British Touring Car, the racing is so aggressive, there's no sort of bullshit, they're rubbing doors and it's aggressive. It's just, it's so entertaining to watch.
But which city do you like the most to race that is not in the calendar right now?
Which city?
City, yeah.
Oh, which city? Sorry, I thought you said series.
No.
Which city would I like to race in? I'd like to go back to Cape Town. Cape Town was really cool. I don't know, maybe somewhere a bit like Buenos Aires or some. I don't know. There would be probably 10.
Oh, Buenos Aires is a good one. Yeah, I like it.
Something a bit different. We already have Tokyo. Tokyo's cool. Like maybe Sydney as well.
Okay.
Sydney would be cool. Yeah, that's
amazing.
Good for you there.
Only two left: Instagram or TikTok.
Instagram. TikTok. I've never had TikTok. I don't have it.
One word to describe Mexican fans.
I think it's a boring one, but energetic. I think is a good one. But, very loyal. That's 2 words, I know. But, I'm not getting the right word, but it's like they make you feel welcome and warm as an athlete. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Well, that was our attack mode section.
Do you like the pit boost rule? The last season start?
50-50.
50-50.
Yeah.
Why?
I think at the moment, so Formula E as a championship is obviously there to showcase technology like this. The technology behind it, the 600 kilowatt charging, this is incredible. This is really cool, to be able to promote something like that, which is going to make a massive difference to, everyday life with electric cars on the road. This is very important for the championship to promote stuff like that. And I find the technology quite fascinating, how the batteries don't, just catch fire, because there's a lot of energy being put into them. But then I think from a racing perspective, 30, 40 seconds in the pits, when we come out, I think it makes it quite difficult for the fans to follow what's actually really happening, because some cars end up being lapped, some not. I think in some cases it's quite cool, and it depends on the race. If the track is longer, it works better, to be honest. So I think it needs to be maybe tweaked slightly. But for me, the exciting thing is solid state batteries. When this technology comes in, you'll be able to charge at 1500 kilowatts, and you'll be able to do, a lot faster charging. So then you can come in and potentially do 10 seconds and you get, maybe 15% of battery. This would be cool. So I think it's the technology we're promoting is very exciting, but I feel like it's not quite ready. That's my feeling as a driver, yeah.
Pues pasamos a la última sección, que es la de las historias. I want you to tell us a story. When you started as a Formula driver, when did you stop thinking that was like a dream, and you started saying this is not anymore a dream. This is what I do right now.
I think, when I joined Formula E, I think, look, I'll be brutally honest, for me, it depends how much time we have. And I don't want to give you a 10-minute answer because it's very difficult to translate. But, I always wanted to be a Formula 1 driver, if I'm honest. That was always my goal. I had some very difficult times on the ladder going to Formula 1. And a lot of political things happened to me, which sort of took away my passion for the sport a little bit, which was a shame, to be honest. So, when all the F1 stuff started to, crumble and I knew I wasn't going to get there, I was right on the edge of giving up in racing, to be honest. I nearly stopped because for me it was like F1 or nothing, So, and I then got I got a couple of teams in Formula E approached me. And I thought, look, I've been studying racing for 15 years. I have an opportunity to go into a new, exciting championship with, quite a challenging ethos, and potentially be someone in that championship, and then get paid to race. So, I'm glad I made the decision I did. The first 3 years were very tough, as I said earlier. And many times in those 3 years, I was just thinking of not turning up to the next race. Honestly, it was really hard to mentally to find the strength and keep going. Again, I'm glad I did, especially now, this fourth season, been a lot more positive. And as I said, when I won the race, I wrote quite a long Instagram post sort of saying that, I'm glad I kept at it. And yeah, I've started to have a smile on my face a lot more. I'm always smiling really, but this year a lot more. And yeah, I'm glad I stayed. So
you're enjoying your time.
Well, few people know that you race against Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, and you told us you are a kind of a teacher to Oscar Piastri. What do you think about these drivers? And you can tell us something that you have passed with them?
I don't think I ever raced in the same race as Verstappen. I think I might have done one karting race in like 2013 or something. What was the question? Sorry.
What do you think about your relation?
Yeah, so I grew up a lot with Lando. Like in karting, he was untouchable in karting because he didn't grow. So until he was like 15, 16. Yeah, so, and a lot of people will be wondering why that's such a big advantage. It's not just the weight, it's the center of gravity. So when you're in a go-kart, it only weighs 110 kilos or whatever it weighs, and all the weight, because everyone has to be the same weight, but he used to be able to bolt like 30 kilos of lead underneath the seat. So his center of gravity is probably like 5% lower than anyone's.
Okay.
And a center of gravity is conducive to, just more grit, basically, and just a better kart. That's the easiest way to describe it. But coupled with the fact he was also very good, so he was very dominant in karting. And then our first full racing year together, we were both in Formula 4. He was in Carlin, I was in Forte, and I was winning that championship until about a third or half of the way through the year. So, beating him. And then I made quite a big error that year, unfortunately. And we won't talk about that too much. Some people will know, but, I was out of racing for a year. And Lando went on to win the championship. So, look, I had a good opportunity, to win that championship that year, and I messed up. So, but yeah, Lando's a very good driver. And then on to Oscar. When I was 17 or 18, I was going into Formula 3, or I was in Formula 3. He was 15, 16, and going into Formula 4, which is the category I just previously raced in a couple of years ago. And, there was no doubt that even at that age, he was a talent, a very fast guy. But you will see a little bit today, like, he's a very docile character, like very calm, like, he almost looks like he's tired a lot of the time. So when he was younger, my job was to sort of, help him in Formula 4 to, learn the car and coach him. But also because I'm quite a fiery person, to try and sort of inject some life into him. And I don't know if it worked.
From the fight.
But yeah, I got on very well with him and his father. His father's a very good man as well. And to be honest, I'm not salty about any of them being in Formula 1. I'm quite proud of Oscar. I think he's someone that truly deserves to be there. He's not come from huge money, and he's not really put a foot wrong in his career. I think he's better than Lando. So, yeah.
Okay.
Me too.
Yeah. I think he is. Yeah.
Creo que es mejor que esa fue el quote que,
Sí,
que Oscar Piastri
Yeah,
es mejor
exactly.
que
That's why
Lando.
I stopped, because it's a big thing to say. Yeah,
A big thing.
Yeah.
A big thing.
yeah.
Well, he's really close to the championship this year. So.
I think he's more level-headed. I think he's better in racing scenarios in general. You know, you watch a lot of scenarios that you can't practice, for example, in a race, that Oscar handles a lot better than Lando does.
mentally.
They're both very similar in terms of like pace. I think, you know, they're both top-level drivers. I think I could be better, but I think Oscar is definitely a special driver. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And how do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years. I think, you know, my goal is to sort of get to the top of Formula E. You know, obtain a top contract. You know, with a manufacturer or even with the team I'm with, depending on. You know, I can't see the future 5 years, but you know, I want to be winning races consistently. I'd love to go for a championship. That would be very special. But, you know, there's other things I want to do in life, as I said, you know, 10, 15, 20 minutes ago. Like, you know, there's other things I'm interested in. You know, I'm not just like a one-dimensional character that wants to do one thing in life. You know, I think there's other things I think I could be good at. And, you know, even if I'd end up not being good at them, I'd rather know that I've tried, you know. So I want to try some other things. And to be honest, that's a big positive to Formula E compared to Formula One. You know, if you're a Formula One driver and, you know, you're at the top and you have no life.
Yeah.
You know, you have no life. Yeah, you might earn 20 million pounds, 30 million euros, whatever, but you can't, you know, there's never any time to enjoy it. And before you know it, you're 45, you know, and I don't want to offend anyone listening, but, you know, your youth and, you know, the prime of your life is gone, you know, so you devote your whole life to sport. With Formula E, you know, we earn good money, and rightly so. It's the only championship where every driver is paid. You know, there's no drivers bringing money, so the level is very, very high. So that's a key point, I think, for Formula E, is the level of the driver on the grid. But we have time to enjoy, you know, our efforts and our money and our life, you know, which is a very important thing for me. And, you know, if this TV show that I'm starting ends up being a success, yes, I'm going to have no life. I'm going to be busy, you know, all year, but it's something I've wanted to do. Like I said, I had two dreams as a boy, so trying to focus on the other one now a little bit. Yeah.
Well, everything is as it has to be.
Yeah. Well, I think, I don't know, I just feel like that there's a gap in the market for a proper, authentic car show. You know, I feel like Top Gear was, you know, the original trio. It's impossible to copy them. But I feel like all of the remakes and the reboots, they just picked people from random, and they didn't gel as people. They had no camaraderie, not a good relationship. And I think that's what I will have. I have two of my best friends who I'm doing it with. Very funny, very like quite intelligent guys. So I think we have some good ingredients. As you can tell, I'm very excited about it. So yeah, I'm hoping if that comes out, people will watch it, and yeah, it'll be a cool thing to do for the next 30 years of my life, maybe, you know. So yeah.
We wish you the best
in
your projects.
Thank you.
Well, Dan, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk with you, to share some experiences, dreams, everything about, and see you on air.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very
on track.
Very looking forward to coming back in 2 months' time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
On January, you will be here.
Well, 3, 4 months. I don't know. Sometime.
In the new year.
Do you live in London right now?
I live in London,
Okay.
yeah.
Bueno, pues ha sido un placer tener a Dan Ticktum, piloto de la Fórmula E, que va a estar dándonos muchas cosas de qué hablar en esta campaña 2025-2026. Gabo, pues...
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. This is your home, and come whenever you want.
Thank you. I always feel very welcome here, and I appreciate the fans and the people. And I just want to say I'm sorry I can't speak your language again.
Dice que se disculpa por el but come follow us, and you will say goodbye in a good Spanish.
I'll try.
Okay. Adiós.
Adiós.
Amigos.
Amigos.
Nos vemos
en En
enero
enero.
en el E-Prix
What?
en el
En el E-Prix
de la Ciudad de México.
de la
Ciudad de
Circuito México.
Ahí está.
Eso es todo.
Bueno.
Bien.
Spanish lessons with Dan Ticktum. Thank you so much. Gracias. Muchas gracias por haber visto este episodio del podcast de la Fórmula E.
No se olviden que tenemos una cita en el Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez el próximo 10 de enero.
Compra tus boletos, son realmente baratos y le vas a pasar bien.
En el 2026 Hancock, Mexico City y Pre.
Todo el día llegas desde las 8 de la mañana y te vas con música a las 9 de la noche. Ya lo sabes, no faltes.
Ya están los boletos a la venta.